Hello peeps, and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be taking a look at Super Bio Freak OMG by Global Formulations. It certainly is an interesting pre-workout. It's kind of understated and stand out at the same time for different reasons. But obviously we'll be putting it through the usual paces, the taste, price, label effects, and working out if it's right for you picking up. And if you are new on the channel, please do hit the like button, sub button, bell icon, all the usuals. It really does help us out. But today, let's tuck into this bad boy. So first segment of any review, as you guys probably know, taste and mixability, and we're going to be trying out lime margarita flavour. Also comes in a fair few flavours, I've written them down: watermelon, peach mango, candy apple, pina colada and strawberry lemonade. So it's good that you've got a nice amount of choice there. But obviously for today, let's get into the old lime margarita. So I have mixed it up. It's a reasonably big serving amount. I think it's over 20 grams from memory. Let's have a little look-see. Give it a second to settle. So we've got some froth action going on there. You don't always get that. Mixability wise, not too bad. Not too bad. I'm not seeing any chunks immediately settle at the bottom or anything like that. To be honest, for the serving amount size, it really doesn't look bad at all. And I'm hoping that you guys concur with that on the camera. I think maybe there's some tiny little bits at the bottom, but no worse than average. Anyway, let's see how it tastes. Yeah, it definitely tastes limey. Yeah, holy moly. Tastes like blended up limes with some spring water, as Aaron would aptly put it. So yeah, I mean, it tastes like what it says on the tin. It's really going to come down to the fact that if you like that flavour or not. But obviously, as mentioned, there's lots of choice, so it's good if you don't. There are some nastiness coming through on the back end, you know, some chemical, pre-workout-y sort of taste. But then again, it is a stacked label, which we'll come on to very shortly. It's got like a whole shopping list of ingredients. Give it another sip and I'll give you a score. It's tricky because on one hand it is accurate, but on the other hand I just don't think I'm a massive fan of limes, at least not to that potent degree anyway. And yeah, like I said, there's some bits in the background. I mean, it's actually not bad, but it's just lime isn't my personal preference, so I have to keep my own personal bias out of it. For the flavour, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And mixability, obviously. So yeah, 7 out of 10. It's good, it's just not incredible, but at the same time, it's definitely not bad. It's above average still, hence the score, so yeah. Actually, do you know what, guys? The more I'm drinking it, the more I think 7's a bit too nice. Maybe it's just because it's getting more potent down the bottom and the chemical undertones becoming more prevalent, but I'm going to lower my score to a 6 out of 10. So, slightly above average, taking my own personal bias out of it. But still very much doable, and like I say, there are other flavours, but yeah, 6 out of 10 is what I'm going to go with. So how much will it set you back to get your freak on? Well, you head over to crossthelimits.co.uk, where you'll find this 30 serving tub on there for £43.52 or £1.45 per the serving. Now on our consistent price scale, which we use to measure how expensive pre-workouts are, where a 5 out of 10 is the bang average price point, this comes in at a reasonably solid, for what you're getting, 6 out of 10. So priced a little bit better than your average price point. So all we got to do now is work out what type of pre-workout we're getting for that money. You know, is the bang for buck good here? So stick around and we'll get into that right now. Okay dudes, let's get through this label, and I'm going to try and keep it as quick and concise as possible because it is stacked, to say the least. I mean, it's got a lot of ingredients in it, so let's get into it. So we got ourselves a 24.8 serving amount, grams that is. Crazy. It's definitely on the higher end. So at the top we just got a bunch of vitamins and a couple of minerals there at the bottom. That's just general bodily function, gonna get things ticking over as they should be. Nothing too crazy or specific, but it's good to have there as a baseline, I suppose. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. So we've got citrulline malate at 9:1 ratio at 10 grams, and it's 9 grams of L-citrulline, so what more do you want? It's a crazy high dose, more than enough to get the job done. Definitely on the higher end is what you're ever going to see. Citrulline going to bump up nitric oxide levels, increasing blood flow and pump, so great to see. Then we move down to beta-alanine, 3.5 grams above the normal 3.2 that we'd normally see. Another amino acid, gives that itchy tingly sensation when it kicks in, but also helps with endurance when you build it up in your system. Then we have taurine, another amino acid at 2.5 grams, a really nice dose. Normally only see about 1 gram or 2 grams if you're lucky. Jack of all trades amino, it's going to help with your hydration, pumps, energy, mental focus, all that good stuff. Then we have agmatine sulfate at 2 grams, a really nice dose there. Normally only see 1 gram to 1.5 grams, so above and beyond. Another nitric oxide booster, and it does also help to prolong the pump. Then we move down to choline L-butartrate at 1 gram. Not the best form of a choline donor because it struggles to cross the blood-brain barrier. However, 1 gram is an okay dose, so it might do something, but we'd prefer to see CDP choline or alpha-GPC. But yeah, it's going to help to increase acetylcholine levels in the brain, increasing your focus and athletic performance in the gym. Then we have caffeine anhydrous, 350 milligrams, not to be sniffed at. A couple of energy drinks worth, about 4 cups of instant coffee. It's around about the typical average caffeine dose that you're ever going to see in your typical pre-workout. It's the main stimulant, going to wake you up, kick in and get your ass moving. Definitely a solid dose there. And then we actually have 2 different forms of L-tyrosine, which are ultimately going to do the same thing with increasing your focus and concentration. So we've got N-acetyl L-tyrosine at 250 milligram and L-tyrosine at 250 milligrams, so 500 milligram total. Whilst it's cool that they've got both forms in there to cover 2 slightly different angles, I'd much rather just see one of them at a decent dose, like at least 1 gram. So will it do something? Yes. Is it optimal? No. But you should still get a little bit from it in the form of focus. Then we have Mucana powder extract at 250 milligrams. This contains L-dopa, which is going to help to increase dopamine levels, aka helping with your focus and mood. Then we move down to Juglans Reza extract at 200 milligrams, which is a stimulant. It's going to help with your drive, euphoria, energy levels, so nice to see. And it's going to depend as to how well this is sourced, as to how well it kicks in and what sort of effect it has on you in the gym. So yeah, we'll have to see. No spoilers yet. But yeah, it can be a heavy stimulant depending on the source. And then we've got L-norvaline at 100 milligrams, a nice dose again. This is an arginase inhibitor amino acid, so it's basically going to help to prolong your pump. It's going to help your body to, it's going to help to prevent your body from breaking down arginine. So yeah, prolonging the pump. Then we have dicaffeine malate at 75 milligrams, a bit of a strangely low dose because you only yield 75 milligrams of that, or 75% of that as actual caffeine, but it's an anti-crash mechanism. It will kick in slower and later on after the initial caffeine anhydrous has worn off. So yeah, what's that, like 50 milligrams? So, or ish 50 milligrams. So it's bumping it up more towards the 400 milligram mark of caffeine. So we're stepping outside of the realms of daily driver caffeine now, but you know, we've not done with the stimulants yet, so I almost don't even want to say the word daily driver. So let's move down to Synephrine HCl, 50 milligrams, which is another fat burning type stimulant. So yeah, it's going to give you more energy and a bit of a sweat on. Then we have naringin extract at 50 milligrams, which is another fat burning type ingredient, and it also has been shown to help boost up the effect of stimulants. Then we have lotus extract at 20 milligrams, which is a calming type ingredient. It sort of levels off the stimulants, put you in more of a calm, collected kind of headspace. I guess you could kind of say similar to what people put L-theanine in pre-workouts for, but obviously here we have lotus extract. And then we've got Huperzine Serrata at 10 milligrams, yielding obviously 100 micrograms of actual huperzine A. It's going to help again with memory, focus, concentration, and it also does stop your body from breaking down choline or acetylcholine as fast as it otherwise would. So it's kind of prolonging your focus in that regard, which is pretty cool. 100 micrograms is an okay dose. We've seen higher, we've seen like 200, 300, 400 micrograms, but you know, it'll have some effect. Then we've got bioperine, the all-important digestive aid at 5 milligrams, and you're going to need it in this formula because it's a stacked one. Then we have, I can't even pronounce this one because I don't actually recall I've seen it before, but it's pronounced, I believe, rutacarpine or rutacarpine. You'll have to correct me in the comments if I'm saying it completely wrong, but 5 milligrams. I looked into this one and it's another anti-crash type mechanism. It helps the smoothness of the caffeine on the back end, so it's not as much of a harsh drop off. It's like a caffeine antagonist essentially. Then we have the all-important and scary alpha-yihimbine at 3 milligrams, which is a very, very harsh stimulant and fat burner. Normally I like to see 1 to 2 milligrams for me personally, because that's where I can get the benefits of the ingredient without the nasty side effects, aka the dribbles, the sweats, the jitters, you know, some of that stuff that can come from higher dosages of the ingredient. So yeah, it could be extremely strong, or it could be by pure luck, it might actually end up hitting okay. But yeah, what the label says is just a mere suggestion sometimes. I'm not saying that they're dodgy or anything, but I'm just saying, you know, what they say on the label doesn't always come into fruition, because I've seen 2 milligram doses of alpha yimbine blow my socks off, and equally, I've seen 3 milligram alpha yimbine on a label and I've been okay with it. That's my point. So yeah, that is the label, guys. Ultra stacked, a little bit underdosed here and there, but generally speaking, I think it's really well put together. Let's see how it comes together in the gym. Okay guys, let's talk effects of Super Bio Freak OMG by Global Formulations, or Global Formulas should I say. So it promises on the front explosive energy, muscular endurance, extreme mental focus, and it says about the fact no creatine, no bloating. Obviously, like I said in the Instagram story, if you see it, they could have just used creatine HCl, so they're just assuming that, it's almost like they're assuming the only form of creatine is monohydrate, which is the one that can cause bloating, but there's other forms of creatine. So anyway, bit of a strange claim, but there we have it. So yeah, what did I think in the couple of times I used this bad boy? Right out the gate, beta alanine, how strong did I feel it? Not strong at all, strangely, but I do think it's because it's a lot to digest. There's like 20 ingredients all competing for digestion here, so it takes a little bit of a backseat. You get a mild sort of heating sensation. 4 out of 10 on the tingle scale, like a couple of itches, nothing crazy. You'll be fine with it if you're not the biggest fan of the ingredient, but obviously if you love it, you might be a little bit disappointed because it doesn't kick in strong, just letting you know. About 20 minutes after taking the pre-workout, you feel all of the stimulants kick in. There's no doubt about it. It is entry to mid, I would say, stim junkie category. So yeah, you definitely feel the heart rate go up, you definitely feel the sweat on, you definitely feel a pretty overwhelming sense of urgency to get going. Like, this is the type of pre-workout where you just don't want to get caught up in traffic on the way to the gym. You will have a terrible time. And the reason I say that is because that's what happened to me, unfortunately. But yeah, I did actually get to the gym in the end after about a 20-minute delay on top of what I was expecting. But yeah, it's a strong pre-workout, as I say. Now, you might be asking, right out the gate, how did the alpha yimbine kick in? For me, and I kind of alluded to this in the label, but it kicked in nicely. I would say for me, it felt like 1.5 to 2 milligrams of alpha yimbine, so I got the beneficial effects of it in terms of like the increased energy output and the sort of buzz it gives you, but I didn't get any dribbles or jitters or nastiness. I just got like that sense of urgency buzz from it. So however they've done it in here with that ingredient specifically, thumbs up, I enjoyed it. With regards to the Juglans Regia, sometimes companies put this in pre-workouts as a cover-up for synthetic DMHA, so sometimes you can get this in a pre-workout and it'll yield the effects of like a DMHA kind of vibe, like a euphoric floaty high. Did I get that in this? No. This pre-workout actually kicked in as more of a borderline aggressive, ultra dialed in productive type vibe, like a tunnel vision focus. And I do think that's a combination of all the ingredients. Obviously, it's a lot going on here. They've got multiple fat burners, multiple nootropics, all working in different ways. I do think there's a lot of synergy going on. So yeah, it's more of a super dialed in, borderline aggressive focus. So if you want a pre-workout that goes more down that route, perfect. So there's your energy and your focus for you. I would say that the energy lasts about 2 to 3 hours. And then it comes down smoothly on the back end. And I do think that's because they've got a couple of anti-crash type ingredients in here very cleverly. So there's not any nasty crash, at least not in my experience personally. So that's good. From a pump standpoint, the pumps are really, really nasty. Like, I did legs most recently on this pre-workout and they were pumped. It was actually quite difficult to walk towards the end of my leg day because the volume and the blood it was pumping into my legs. So the pumps are definitely up there. You know, they're at least as good as the energy and the focus, which you wouldn't necessarily expect in a higher stim pre-workout. But obviously, you've seen the label. They have not ignored the pumps at all. They've got several relatively heavy hitting pump ingredients in there that are gonna get blood moving around. So yeah, the pumps are equally solid. So overall, I really like this pre-workout. It's definitely not one that I would use too often because it is quite a hard, heavy energy hit, and you might not want that all the time. You don't want to redline your bloody adrenal glands too often, do you? But this is one that you want to take for the longer, more intense, perhaps PB setting sessions. So yeah, it's not to be mucked around with, it's a serious one. If you're in the market for this type of one, this type of pre-workout, it's gonna suit you down to a T, as I've described. So yeah, between buy it, shortlist it and avoid it, I would definitely say shortlist it if you're in the market for this type of pre-workout. Price point wise, I think it's priced very fairly. Like, it's cheaper than your average pre-workout, but it's also a lot more stacked and a lot better than your average pre-workout. So you have to bear that in mind. So yeah, overall, really like it. Head on over to Cross the Limits if it sounds right for you. Check it out. Have you tried it? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. What's your personal experience? It's a bit of an interesting one. Yeah, it's got a lot of unique elements to it, but it ultimately pays off, and I do recommend it. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. And as always, stay stimmed.